Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Mindset, Magic, and Manifestation podcast with your girl. It is I, the Mikayla J, here to teach you how to manifest your next level Lux life. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday, friends. Two big things you need to know. One, I am wearing a shirt right now that says I'm the queen of the fucking universe. Me and Austin were on a hawker walk the other day, and on our way back to walking to the car, we passed this vintage shop, and we have passed this same vintage shop like 700 times and have never gone in. But randomly this day, he looked at me and he's like, should we go in the vintage store? And I said, sure. I mean, I guess we shall. And we went in and I found this shirt. And I immediately had to buy it, of course. I'm the queen of the fucking universe. And the bottom part of it, I cut it. So it's like a little crop top. If you guys are watching the video, you'll see the bottom of it said like any objections. And I thought that was stupid. So I like cut it right where that was at, but it looks really cute. And it's the vibe for the week. Okay. So your affirmation this week is I'm the queen of the fucking universe. And I want you to just start claiming that. Start claiming it, promoting it, being it, feeling it. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I sound slightly like a frog this week because just a fresh 8 hours ago, I was at a Nicki Minaj concert. So Caleb got tickets for us to go to Nicki Minaj. It was one of my Christmas presents he got me, and it was such a blast. And we went last night and we like literally went to bed at 2 a.m. and I'm recording this at 10 in the morning. So I sound like a little bit of a frog because I was screaming and yelling and just like living my best Barbie life. It was so fun. Caleb and I have been listening to Nicki Minaj since like middle school, maybe even borderline elementary school. So seeing her in person was so crazy. And we were like talking before she came out and we're like, she might just be a myth. You know, she might literally just be an idea of a person. She might not be an actual human, but she was very real. She was so beautiful and it was such a fun time. And one thing that I just like have to recap this because of the energy. The cool thing about Nicki Minaj is that she doesn't give a fuck. Like her whole vibe is I don't care what you think. Like I literally don't care. And one of the, like, I think of when I say that, I think of one of the lines in one of her songs and she goes, I don't even know why you hoes bother at this point, because it's like, you can't bother her. Why do you even try? Like she doesn't care. And because of that, because she has that kind of attitude, everybody there is just so unapologetic. Like the outfits were so good. I genuinely wish I could have taken photos of like 100 different people's outfits because they were just that good. And she just creates this place where you don't have to necessarily like give a fuck. You can just be yourself and show up and exist and have a good time. And she creates this space for you where, okay, everybody was wearing pink because like totally Nicki Minaj vibes. And so she just creates this space where it's like, you can wear your best, like literally like Barbie type outfit, wear pink, look ridiculous, be half clothed. Like one girl was wearing this full see-through jumpsuit with like a black thong and like black pasties. And that was it. And I was like, she's confident. Go off, girl. And it's just, Nicki creates this environment where the standard is being confident. The standard is being yourself. The standard is like looking hot. And they talked about how everybody in the audience smelled good like multiple times throughout the night, which I thought was kind of weird, but I was like, we do smell good. You know what? You're right. Like hot, rich, and that bitch vibes. And it was just so cool to be there. And it made me think like, oh my gosh, what's like the vibe I want on my podcast event? Like Nicki Minaj creates this environment where you can like dress crazy. Like one person was wearing an outfit that was like literally made out of stuffed animals. And it was like such a slay. So it's just that environment where you can wear like long ass nails, like a bunch of makeup, tons of glitter, stuffed animals, you know, whatever. Somebody had a purse that was like a butt, like it was the shape of a butt as a purse. And that's kind of the acceptance vibe. And so I was like, what do I want my podcast event to be like? You know, like I should think of a vibe that I kind of create that space for people. And for me, I feel like I create the vibe of like show up as like your next level self, like show up as your rich bitch self. Like if you want to wear a goddamn ball gown, wear a ball gown. Like if you want to dress like you're going to the Met Gala, like that's how you should dress coming to my events. And that's the standard because no one's going to look at you weird. No one's going to think twice because you're just showing up as your next level self. Same thing when you go to a Nicki Minaj event, like you're just dressing as like your Barbie self. And that's the standard. That's the vibe. That's what's accepted. And it also goes into this idea of like, you're the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? Because it's like when you're surrounded with those people, you know, everybody's going to be accepting, and you know that everybody is just also not going to give a fuck. Like no one's really paying attention to you that much. And so you could just become that type of person. Same thing as like in my environments, like whenever me and my like friends will like go out to dinner, or when Caleb and I do like shopping days, like we always both dress nice because he knows that I'm going to dress nice, and then he'll dress nice. Right. Or like if I go out to get dinner or I'm traveling with friends, like we know that we're going to like look good and look put together. So that becomes the standard. And when you hold yourself to those new standards, you become a new type of person, which is really beneficial, because at the end of the day, like we want to look good, we want to feel good, and we want to be confidently present ourselves. So those are just some of my thoughts on the Nicki Minaj concert. And I actually wrote down some notes that I wanted to talk about too from it. Nicki had this point where she was like talking on stage, and she was doing like a whole spiel on being present. And, you know, we've been talking about that a lot over the last few months on the podcast, because I've really been in my meditation era, as you know. And one of the things she talked about was being present, because she's like, we spend way too much time thinking about the past that we can't change and the future that we can't solve because we don't know what the fuck is going to happen. That's like exactly what she said. And she was telling everybody that we need to focus on being more present and not listening to the outside noise. And she was like, when you close your door at night and you lay your head on the pillow, you need to ask yourself, like, am I happy with myself? Not the people you see on Instagram, not the car that somebody from your high school drives, not the house that somebody bought before you and you think they're so much further along, right? It's like, none of that matters. It matters how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your life. And then of course she like took that into her song, like, I wish that I could have this moment for life, right? So it was a perfect segue, but it was so true. And I'm like, is Nicki Minaj a manifestation queen? I think so. She even threw out shirts to the audience, and she was like, you know, and because the whole tour is like, it's Gag City. So she's like, in Gag City, we have good energy that we pass on to each other. And I was like, period, manifestation. You tell him, Nicki. And she had these special t-shirts, and she's like, this t-shirt I'm holding is going to have this good energy. And whoever gets this t-shirt, she's like, I'm just seeing millions and billions of dollars for you. And I was like, yes, this is energy exchange. So I think Nicki Minaj is a manifestation queen. And I kind of love that for us. But also she said in like one of her like little talking spiels, because, you know, people like sing, perform, take a break, talk, whatever. She talked about, she's like, thanks so much from the bottom of my heart for everybody coming out. For whatever reason you like me. And she like listed up a bunch of things about herself. She was like, for whatever reason you like basically like little old me, I love you. And it made me think, like, there's so many reasons why we like the artists that we like. And we need to start thinking about ourselves in that way, okay? I'm not just sitting here talking about Nicki Minaj, the whole thing, but I want you to have actual takeaways from this, because, you know, I'm sitting here at the concert fucking taking notes so I can talk about this on the podcast. So there's so many reasons why people resonate with us and why people want to be friends with us and people want to be connected to us and be in our world. And it's because we're being so much of ourselves that they see themselves in us. So with Nicki Minaj, we love her because she has this music that just makes you feel really confident. It makes you feel like a bad bitch. It makes you think, yeah, fuck what they think. Like, I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to stay in my own lane. I'm going to reach my goals. Like, yeah, I sell shit out over and over and over again. And yeah, I'm going to wear pink. And yeah, I'm going to have long ass nails while I do it. And it's like, so people resonate with different parts of that. Not everybody is going to be a singer. Not everybody's like drowning in haters, you know, like not everybody has that kind of public eye, but they're like, yeah, I am going to crush my goals, get my degree and have long nails when in a male dominated industry. Or like, yeah, I'm going to feel like a bad bitch when people around me tell me I dress crazy or look crazy. Right. And so it's just like, for whatever reason you love me or like me, I love you. And it made me think, it's just so important for us to be unapologetically ourselves and be all of you. And here's the thing. Not everybody is going to resonate with every little part of you. Not everybody's going to resonate with every little piece. So this is something I feel like I run into a lot when I'm chatting with you guys and chatting with my clients of like, okay, well now I'm like spiritual and I want to talk to people about it, but like my family doesn't get it or my partner doesn't get it or like my friends aren't really into that stuff, right? And so we want to stifle that part of us. We want to tone it down, like turn it down a few notches, right? But it's so important for us to to tone it up, to like be yourself, have those conversations you want to have, and they don't have to get it. And just because somebody doesn't get it doesn't mean you're being rejected. Just because somebody doesn't get it doesn't mean you're being rejected. And we really need to remember that. There are some things about Nicki Minaj I don't resonate with, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop listening to her music. Somebody in your life might not get spirituality. It doesn't mean that they're going to cut you off forever. And we really need to remember that. And I want you guys to find this evidence in your own life. Think of the artists that you really love. And I'm sure they do things that you don't like, or they put out a song that you're like, not really my favorite song. People think that about us all the time. Not really my favorite thing. People have told me a million times, oh, you cuss too much. Okay, I'm still going to do it. Like, you don't have to like resonate with it. You don't have to agree with it, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to be myself. I'm going to talk how I talk, I'm not going to water things down because I'm afraid that you are going to leave or reject me or whatever. Because a lot of times that's not the case. That's not the case. They're not just so willing and so easily going to skedaddle out of your life. Okay. So you need to remember that when you are stepping into this version of yourself who's very next level. So maybe you're presenting yourself as your next level self, and maybe you're investing in a next level way, and you're talking in a next level way. And now you're changing conversations because you don't want to gossip or talk about the old things you used to talk about. Or maybe you don't want to talk about the news and pop culture and all that. Now you want to talk about goals and how you're bettering yourself in a book you read. And maybe your friends aren't reading books. Maybe they're not working towards a lot of things. But that doesn't mean don't talk about it, okay? And this is the other thing I want to say on this, is the more you talk about it and the more you keep being yourself, you will inspire people into change. When I started to do 75 hard this time around, which also I'm like so far into it. I think I only have like 2.5 weeks left, which is crazy. When I started doing 75 hard, my best friend Kara immediately decided to do it with me. We started the same day. We have been chugging through. I'm so proud of her and so excited for us. So it's like we're doing that. Caleb is doing, he's doing like a 30 hard. It's like a smaller version of 75 hard. I have like 4 or 5 clients that are doing 75 hard, right? I've talked to so many people that they're like, I should do that. Or even like meet like friends I'm hanging out with and talking to about doing 75 hard who've maybe never heard of it before. They're like, oh, I should look into that. Like that might be really good for me. And they might not do it. It might not be for them, but they're going to be inspired by my level of action taking. They're going to be inspired by the level at which I am choosing to work on myself. So even if it doesn't resonate with every single person, because I know people that do like 75 soft, or they're like, well, I focus on hormones, so I'm not going to do that. Or, whatever. People have their own thing, and that's fine. They're allowed to have their thing and I'm allowed to have mine. And it doesn't mean that we have to like cut each other off because we're not following the same regimen and not doing the same challenges. So when you can continue to be unapologetically yourself, it's going to inspire people around you. And that inspiration doesn't have to look like a copy paste version of you. And that inspiration isn't going to go the opposite way, and they're not just going to cut you off. I think that's one of all of our biggest fears. And I think one thing that we need to remember that is actually very cool about sharing these parts of ourselves that maybe people don't get, or maybe they don't resonate with all of it, but some of it is they get to start to see our journey. And that's where you connect with people more. When people get to go somewhere and like watch you go through something, take a journey together, you have a lot more rapport. I've been podcasting for 6 fucking years. I mean, like if there was an audience here, they would be clapping. 6 years. I've been podcasting for a long time. And if you guys have been, whether you just started listening this year, you listened 2 years ago, you've been here for all 6 years, right? You have seen me go on a huge journey. The way I talk is different. The way I teach is different. The things like you guys have seen me like grow up and go on this journey. And so we feel close. I feel close with you guys. You guys feel close with me. We're like a podcast. I always say welcome to the podcast family. Like we're a podcast family. And you guys get to watch that elevation. And when we get to go on journeys with people, we connect deeper. When I get to watch my best friends go on journeys of moving across the country, figuring out what career they want, interviewing for jobs, them making friends, them going out and doing things, like I'm watching them on their journey of excelling in a new place, or my friends that I watch them excel in a new career, or my friends that launch businesses, I get to watch them build their business, and you feel so connected. People have watched me build my business for 6 years, and it doesn't mean that I've inspired every single person to start their own business, because also it's not for everybody and it's not everybody's desire, but they've gotten to watch me on that journey, and we can connect deeper because I've been open about that journey. and open about these are the things I'm working on. And even Caleb and I were talking about one of my like upcoming work projects that I'm working on right now, that I'll be announcing, I think, at the beginning of June. So stay tuned. I can't wait to tell you. But we were talking about one of my projects that I'm working on behind the scenes, and I'm like, I'm actually like really fucking scared. Like, I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know how I'm going to do all this. I don't know how this is going to happen, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm kind of nervous, whatever. And people will watch, like he'll then watch me go on that journey and accomplish that goal and figure it out. And then people connect deeper. So all of this to say, when Nicki Minaj said it best, for whatever reason you like me, I love you. And we can think about that for ourselves, the people in our lives. So for whatever reason you like me, maybe we connected in high school. Maybe we connected playing sport together. Maybe we connected because we work together. Maybe we connected because we go to the same workout classes. Like whatever it is, for whatever reason you like me. Maybe you like me because like I married into your family. Like who knows, right? For whatever reason you like me, I love you. And you don't have to understand or resonate with every single part of me. It's just for whatever reason that you like me. And preferably you like multiple things about me. But if you only resonate with one thing, then that's okay. And it also doesn't mean that people are going to leave you. And I wanted to talk about that because hearing Nicki say that, it just kind of let off a light bulb moment in my head that we think oftentimes that people don't want to be a part of our lives anymore when they don't get us, when they don't understand us. And just because somebody doesn't understand something doesn't mean that they're going to tell you to fuck off, right? It's not that dramatic. So I want this to be an activation for you of like, no, I do need to show up as my full self, because people will resonate with different things and people will find more that they like and more that they love about me because I'm being more of myself all of the time and I'm showing them all of me. And we're also taking this journey so they get to see how being all of me is helping me grow, helping me achieve these goals, helping me become happier and more fulfilled, and what happens from that. And then they get to see that journey, and then they're going to be super inspired, and maybe they'll hop on the train, and maybe the things that they didn't understand then, they do understand now. You know, I have been trying to get Caleb to do 75 hard for years with me, and he's always like, no, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. It's too much with work. But I've just like done it so many times. Like I've done the whole Live Hard program. Now I'm doing 75 hard again. Obviously, I've done this regimen so many times now. He's seen it so many times. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do 30 hard. I'm going to do it in the way that works for me. And so over time, like it will sink into the brains of the people around you. It's a little healthy manipulation. Just kidding. It's not manipulating, but I wanted to make sure I talked to you guys about that. And with that, kind of switching topics, of going to concerts and soaking in information like that. And even last week talking about how I went to the Dear Media Live event and I had so many takeaways. And one of the biggest things that like really resonated with me was seeing the hosts of the Toast podcast, if you guys know the Toast podcast, and just the way that the audience interacted with them was so cool and so expansive to me. And I'm like, man, I can't wait to like be on stages and have all of my favorite people, aka my podcast listeners, in front of me, like cheering me on, like knowing the affirmations I use and knowing the things I say and repeating back to me like your excuses are boring, right? And just seeing how they interact with the audience, like it was so inspiring to me. And just seeing all these powerful women on stage throughout the whole day at panels, being with the network I want to be on is so inspiring to me. And seeing Nicki in concert and hearing how she interacts with the audience, how people show out for her and show up. I think the DJ said that this was like their 35th or 37th show of the tour. And obviously that's kind of quote unquote normal when it comes to music tours. But I'm like, that is just so incredible seeing how people show out. And so the point I'm trying to make here is I do things, and this is the pivot we're making here. I do things to stay inspired. Okay. I make being inspired like a full-time job, because the moment that you stop feeling inspired and stop kind of expanding what you're working towards and expanding your vision, you start to retract. And I always say, like, if you're not growing, you're dying. Like literally that's science. Like things need to keep growing and keep moving forward. Right. And it's your job to stay inspired. Okay. I think a lot of us think like, okay, motivation just comes to us. Inspiration comes to us and it comes in downloads and it comes like floating little clouds. Right. But we have to go seek that stuff out. I feel like I talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. Like you need to actively seek out the evidence for your manifestations. You need to actively seek out that expansion. This is why I love signing up for programs with coaches that are so much further along than me, or people, just anybody, not even coaches, that have businesses that are huge. And I'm like, what are they doing? Like, I'm going to go seek out that knowledge. I want to know what they're doing differently, or spending time walking in neighborhoods with really nice houses, like seeking out that inspiration, seeking out that expansion of like, oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't think about before. I want a tree in front of my house because that'll shade the house. And then like the energy bill will be lower. Or like, oh my gosh, the tree makes the yard look so beautiful. Or, oh my gosh, this neighborhood, they have gardens in the front yard, not the backyard. Like, I'm so inspired. Putting myself in environments where it can be expanded and be inspired. And that's why I love going to concerts. Like, I went to Nicki yesterday, and tomorrow, aka Tuesday, so yesterday when you're listening to this, on Tuesday, I'm going to see 21 Savage. And 21 Savage is one of my favorite artists. Like, if you don't know this about me already, I like only listen to rap music. I'm not a Swiftie. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let's sidebar here. Okay, I don't say that I'm not a Swiftie, and like, I'm not one of those Taylor Swift haters. I think she's an incredible businesswoman and like super talented. I don't vibe with the pop music. It's just not my vibe. So I like basically only exclusively listen to rap music. And I get so inspired because so much rap music is like, we're getting money and we are, we're leveling up and like made it out of the hood vibes. And I'm like, yes, So I'm going to 21 Savage and going to concerts and seeing spaces with massive amounts of people who are cheering you on. Like, that's so inspiring to me as somebody who hosts events and does retreats and wants to build out events to be that big. I make sure I stay inspired, going to the Dear Media Live, going on trips, like just doing things with my life, making sure I am inspired all the time, putting myself in environments where I can get that inspiration and feel those feelings of like, holy shit. Like, you should be doing things. You should actively be seeking out opportunities that make you feel like, holy shit. Like, this is next level. And if you've never had an experience like that, I challenge you to go find one this week, whether it's a concert that's massive, whether it's signing up for like one of my retreats, right? People come and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I've never stayed in a villa this nice. Or like, oh my gosh, I've never been on an island this beautiful, right? Whatever it might be. You have to seek out those holy shit opportunities. It's your job to be inspired. And I really take it to be like my full-time job to be inspired. And when you do that, like, I'm sorry, you got to get out of the house. You got to get out of the house. I know. I'm a homebody. Fun fact. I love being home. We call our house our wellness sanctuary. I love being in the wellness sanctuary. But we got to get out of the house. That's what's going to inspire you, is living your life outside of the house. And for me, that has been like the best thing for my growth and for excelling my goals. When you get out of the house, that's where you're going to run into the scenarios that then give you $1 million idea. That's where you're going to run into the potential love of your life. That's where you're going to find the right communities that want to go on hot girl walks and that are going to be your future best friends and your future bridesmaids. Like, that's where you're going to find the life-changing opportunities that are going to change your career, your health, your travels, right? You got to get out of the house and stay inspired in that way. So I want to give you guys some tips on how I obviously go out and seek inspiration. So one, I love going on my hot girl walks in different neighborhoods where there's really beautiful houses. And actually one of my clients, Sadie, shout out to Sadie, gave me this hot tip. She's like, you should go to open houses. And this is something I've done in the past, but I definitely want to be more intentional about moving forward. Like, go to the open houses, walk through, tell the realtor, I'm literally just here to look. I just want to like see a beautiful home. You don't have to like give them your phone number and tell them you're about to buy a $5 million house. Like, you can just go, okay? Walk in neighborhoods with expansive homes, right? Go to those open house tours, okay? Just this weekend, Austin's dream car is a Bronco. He has been manifesting his Bronco like crazy. He watches videos of it. He talks about it nonstop. He's done the research. He has names picked out for different colors of Broncos. He's like, if it's green, it's this. If it's a black one, it's named this. If it's the blue one, I would name it this. Like, he has it all planned out. He even has a shirt with a Bronco on it. So he's like full manifesting modes. And so this weekend we went and test drove one. So test driving is also something that's going to make you feel super inspired. Okay. Going to events, go to events that are outside of your comfort zone. That will leave you so inspired. And I don't care if it's like a wellness event. Maybe you're going to like yoga in the park. I can guarantee like it is so easy to find a yoga in the park event. Just scroll on Eventbrite in your city and see what's going on. There are so many free events because I know people are like, well, I don't want to spend money on these things, or maybe I don't have the money laying around, like find the free events. Like if there's a will, there's a way. You're just making boring ass excuses. Okay. Get out of the house. Go to the wellness events, right? There's so many of those. Get inspired. Go to a crystal shop in your town. Find one of those. See if there's a sound bath near you. Go to networking events with people in your industry. There's not just networking events for business. Here in Austin, I know there's a network event for like girls that work in marketing. I like get their Instagram ads that have like actual like marketing, like 9-to-5 jobs. So seek out events, come to a podcast event, come to a retreat. That's another way you can get inspired and get out of your comfort zone is like go on a retreat, book a solo trip, book a staycation in your city. Like literally I remember, okay, so let's throw back to days when I used to live in Lincoln, Nebraska when I was still in college and I didn't have a ton of money and, blah, blah, blah. We are rewinding to back in the day. I really practiced embodying this next level version of myself who was bougie, who was going on trips all the time, who felt like a rich bitch before I was one. And how I would do that is that I would pack a bag and I would take my cute little, what I felt was designer, which was Kate Spade at the time, pack my little Kate Spade bag. I would do a full face of makeup, put on a cute outfit, and I would literally go stay at the Holiday Inn Express for like one night randomly. And I would buy flowers and I would like take photos and I'd be like checking into my room and I would make sure my nails were painted. Like I would do the whole 9 yards as if I was going on like a 5-star vacation with my designer luggage, right? And that's how I would start to inspire myself because now that I'm in the hotel, it's like, oh my gosh, now I want to write. Now I want to take content. Now I'm so inspired. Now I want to like sit down in the lobby or like by the bar and hear the conversations people are saying. So what are the things that you can do outside of your house that are going to inspire you? For me, doing the staycations really inspired me because I really wanted to travel and I didn't have the means or the time while I was in college to necessarily travel as much, which that was also a limiting belief because then the next year I started traveling like crazy and was still in school. But at the time, that was a limiting belief of mine. And I like literally busted through that. Cause I'm like, well, if I have time to go on these like little staycations over the weekend, who says I can't just go do it in another city for like 2 days, right? It doesn't have to be this whole thing. You guys, Austin and I actually talked about this. We thought about doing, okay, so Frontier Airlines, which is a discount airline, they do this like summer pass where I think it's like $400 and you can fly as much as you want all summer and you just pay like the $5 tax on flights, like including their international destinations. You pay $400 and you can fly as much as you want. And we talked about like, oh, should we get those passes for the summer? And then every Friday, because he doesn't work Fridays, like every Friday we'll make that our date day and we'll fly to a city in the morning and come back in the evening and just like have that day experience. Because like if we stayed for a whole weekend, we'd have to find a pet sitter and then we would have to like make sure our cars are stored somewhere. Like we'd have to like plan out all these things, but like your excuses are boring, just go for one day and have that experience and be inspired seeing all these different places. We haven't done it yet because then we started focusing on all of our moving stuff. So I'll keep you guys posted. But that's something that gets you out of your comfort zone and inspired. Another great example is me going to my dance classes. After I record this, I'm literally going in the dance studio immediately after I leave the podcast studio. And I feel so inspired there just by the instructors, the songs, the movement, right? How it makes me feel about myself. So you need to really adopt this mindset of it is my full-time job to be inspired. And when you put yourself in a space of inspiration constantly, your life is going to up level like crazy. Let me tell you what, I cannot even keep up with the amount of ideas I have right now. The ideas I have for my education company where we have my courses, my coaching, the ideas I have, like literally I can't keep up with them. Like there's so many things I want to add to my courses, ways that I'm changing things, ways I'm changing my website, ways I want to do like, and I'm just going to tell you guys this because we talk about everything here. I want to do like music videos to like promo my programs and like record like full blown like commercials. Like Austin and I, when we were in Bali, came up with this amazing commercial for the MMM method that would just encapsulate, I don't even know if that's a word. It would just make sense for the program. And it's like, there's like palm leaves being fanned on me and like a little like money gun thing. Wait, I want to do like full blown commercials for some of my programs. Like I have such inspiration by women, like female music artists that I want to do a music video with a full like choreographed dance. And it doesn't even like make sense for like what I'm selling, but it's just like, it's for the vibe. It's so you get the vibe of what the program is going to be and what's the energy and what's the feeling. And so I know I want to do that on top of the other things I have inspiration for. I know the inspiration I have for the podcast and ways that I'm growing that. I have inspiration for my retreats and my events and how we're growing that. I have inspiration because I really want to start selling merch again and like make really cute merch. Like, especially like this shirt, Queen of the fucking Universe. I'm like, I should have thought of that, you know? I literally cannot keep up with all of the ideas I have because I have so many of them, and I have to pace myself because I need to execute on one idea, not even one idea at a time, but I need to execute as I'm going through. And it's because I am running into this quote unquote problem because I stay inspired all the time. This is like the perfect example of a next level quote unquote problem. I don't actually believe there's problems. Like, there's only like opportunities for solutions. But this is the next level thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have so many ideas. I'm overflowing with inspiration. Like, what do I want to do? And that's a great way to start tapping into your intuition too, and really come from a place of overflow. Because I think a lot of times we're like in that scarcity of like, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't feel inspired. And then you just like pull something out and it's like very forced. And you're like, oh, out of these few ideas, which one should I do? It's kind of like, out of these $3, what should I buy at the grocery store? Versus I'm seeking out inspiration. I'm seeking out getting out of my comfort zone. I'm seeking out new environments, and I'm so overflowing with ideas and inspiration and energy from doing all these things. Now I just get to pick what I want to work on first. And that sounds so much more fun than like, I have $3. Like, what should I do out of these few ideas? Like, I feel so, I don't know what's on my mind. I don't know what to say, right? Completely different energies. And the only way you shift it is by choosing to seek out inspiration regularly. Last thing that I want to talk about on our episode today, this is like random, but everything comes together. Like, I think if you re-listen to this episode again, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I see the formula. Okay, so I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Miracle Equation. I'm gonna link it for you guys in the show notes. And if you don't know where the show notes are, if you click on the episode, it's going to be the written part underneath that. So you guys could just like click on over and get the book if you want. The Miracle Equation. And the author talks about basically how you can achieve everything in your life with extraordinary effort and an unwavering faith. So basically, like, you don't doubt yourself. You don't let the limiting beliefs win. If you have unwavering faith and you really fully believe you're going to get what you want and you're willing to put in that extraordinary effort, doesn't always mean hustle, but it means like going above and beyond to do things, doing next level action steps, you will always get what you want. Very similar to the things we talked about here. If you guys are readers, I think you'll really love the book. So one of the big takeaways I had from it recently, I wanted to share because it goes in with the inspiration piece. And they talked about, the author, I think his name is Hal, but the author talked about goals and how oftentimes we set goals and we think we want them for the actual goal. But in reality, we want the goal because we want the person that achieves that goal. So, I always talk about like, okay, when you think about your goal, think about like, okay, what are the feelings you're going to have? You're going to feel accomplished. You're going to feel successful. You're going to feel relieved. You're going to feel happy. You're going to feel excited. Like, those feelings when you actually have it, and start to feel those feelings now. And so I've always thought about that. Yes, put yourself in the end result. But the way he explained it in the book really hit different for me. We set these goals because we want to be the type of person who achieves that type of goal. We want to be the type of person who achieves that type of goal. And that just lit up in my brain. I was like, wow, I think my neurons are rewiring just hearing that. I make myself laugh. But hearing that really made me start looking at my goals differently. Of like, okay, I know that it's always like, it's about who the person you're becoming in the process and those feelings. Like, we only actually want the desire because we want the feelings that are associated with it. But this took it to an identity level. You want those goals because you want to be the type of person who achieves at that level. That's an identity. And when I read it and I reread it and I reread it and I was like, holy shit, like, this is a game changer. And I was like, oh, you're right. Like, I want to be the type of woman who makes millions of dollars. She's in amazing fucking shape. She's traveling the world in like with luxury. She has an amazing marriage. She has the best friends in the world, and everything she does just elevates her whole circle. Like, I do want to be the kind of woman who has an endless amount of energy, who is executing on a whole other level on a million projects, and all of them look fucking amazing, who's selling out events. Like, I do want to be that type of woman. And not for the goals, but what is that woman to me? Like, what would that look like? If I was looking at that version of me, like on Instagram, and I was scrolling through her feed when she's already achieved all of these things, what would I think? And it came down to 2 words, and it was remarkable and impressive. And I was so mind blown, sitting in my bed under my heated blanket with my jammies on with this book, with my Hatch alarm light. And I was like, holy shit, like the goal, like these goals are all fun and great, but the real goal is like, I want to be a remarkable person. I want to be somebody who's impressive. When I think about somebody who's making like millions of dollars, I'm like, that's impressive. When I think about somebody who is achieving at this level, who's going on these trips, who's managing their business, but also like keeping in shape and also like keeping up their friendships, and like they live this well-rounded life, I'm like, that is impressive. That is a remarkable life. That's what I want. I want to be, and I just think about it, and it's a feeling. Like, I really wish I could just take the feeling out of my body and like put it into your body so you could feel it. But when I think about it's like this feeling of setting out a goal and knowing you're the kind of person who achieves goals like that. Like, I want you to think about your goals right now. Like, just take a moment and think about like your top 3 goals. And that feeling in your body of like, I am the type of person who achieves goals like that. Like, I think about like, oh, when I think about that for myself, it's like, oh yeah, I am the type of person who achieves the goal of like making millions of dollars. I am the type of person who achieves the goal of like buying the Lambo truck. I am the type of person that achieves the goal of buying like a $6 million house and like taking my whole family on a trip on a private jet. Like that is such an expansive feeling in my body. And I hope I'm explaining it in a way that's making you feel something, because I don't know how else, it's kind of hard to put into words. It's just remarkable and impressive to me. And maybe your words are different. So think about that for yourself. Like, when you think about the type of person who achieves the goals that you have your mind set on, what kind of person is that? For me, it's remarkable and impressive. And it's remarkable and impressive to myself. It's not impressing other people, and it's not outwardly this ego-based, like, yeah, I want everybody to look at me and be like, damn, like that is a remarkable person. Like, I want to feel that about myself. That's the point. And so when you think about this with your goals, like, you'll start setting like even crazier and even bigger goals, because you think about it's like, but well, what would an impressive person do? What kind of goals would a remarkable human being have? And then the way they described it in the book is that like you can't fail at all, because the goal is becoming that type of person. And so every step of the way with those goals, you are getting closer and closer to being that person. You are growing and you are learning every step of the way. So there is no failure. There is no failure, because even if, like, let's say you set a goal on a monthly basis and you don't hit it in that like 30-day time span, you grew so much by going after that goal and wanting to tackle that goal, and the type of person you became in the process. Like, you took remarkable action, you did impressive things, you thought in an impressive way. And so I feel like it takes off a little bit of that pressure of having those goals. So if we couple this with the idea I talked about a couple episodes back of like 90-day manifestations, for me, I think, okay, somebody who is remarkable and wildly impressive, what are they accomplishing in 90 days? And that's what I want you to think about for yourself. Figure out what your words are. Like, the type of person that achieves the goals that you have set your mind on. What is that type of person to you? Again, for me, remarkable and impressive. And then think about the 90-day span, because the more pressure we can take off, the easier these manifestations are going to drop in. So taking off that pressure in a 90-day span, someone who is wildly impressive, what are they doing? What are they accomplishing? What are they setting? Like, what are they putting their minds towards? What are they focusing on? What's a remarkable use of their time, right? And really looking at it in that way, it's going to completely change the way you set your goals. And I think a lot of times we will self-sabotage by setting smaller goals because we're holding ourselves back, or we're scared we're not going to achieve something, or we just have our own limiting beliefs, like even when Austin will talk to me about the Bronco, be like, oh, I feel like it's just like so far away. Like it's going to take such a long time for me to like save up for it and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's such a limiting belief. So like, you're really holding yourself back from claiming that this thing you want, that it's something you want right now because you think it's so far in the future. But an impressive person would achieve that so much faster. And we think like, oh, well, logically, like, oh yeah, he has a set salary, and oh yeah, this, this and that of practical barriers. But impractical things can happen when you open yourself up in that way. If you open yourself up to impressive and remarkable inspiration and magic, then impressive and remarkable things can happen. And I'm glad that I brought up inspiration because that's how it ties into this. When you're constantly staying inspired, you will constantly have those ideas that are impressive. You will constantly be surrounded by people that are remarkable, that are doing these things that expand you. And so for me, a remarkable person they're in all of the rooms. They're talking to lots of different types of people. They're doing lots of different activities. And then they blow everybody's goddamn minds because they take inspiration from every little spot and they pull it into a masterpiece of their own. And that's wildly impressive. So that's kind of the approach that I'm taking in this way after seeing that in the book. It's like, it's not about the goal. It's about being the type of person who achieves at that level, who achieves those types of goals. Like when I think about myself making like, let's say like making like $5 million a year, I'm like, I can't wait to meet that version of me who achieves those types of goals. Like she's a bad bitch. Like I can't wait to meet her. That sounds so cool and so exciting. And so again, so impressive and so remarkable because I know when I do it, I'm going to do it my way. So it's going to be creative. It's going to be fun. It's going to be bougie. I'm probably going to be cussing. Like I'm going to have balance because I would never sacrifice like my fitness. I would never sacrifice my free time, traveling, like all of these other things. So I know I'm going to do it in that way and it's going to be remarkable and impressive. And so when I can start to set that intention with my goals right now, I'm going to blow them out of the water so much faster. And I read that in the book and I was like, I have to talk about this because also like, let's take it back to the Nicki Minaj conversation. Like she is a remarkable and impressive person. She has been rapping for so long, you guys. So long. She has been canceled a million times. She has beef with every female rapper, right? And she's still here. Like that's an impressive and remarkable person. And she has like 37 sold out shows or whatever it is. Like I don't think this was the last one. So probably like 40 sold out shows. That's impressive and that's remarkable. You can be impressive and remarkable when you're being all of yourself. When you're being all of you, you are more open to connection. People are going to connect with you deeper. They're going to understand you better, even if they don't understand certain things about you. And over time, because you take them on this journey, they will start to understand and they will pull inspiration from you. And that's how you become like this energetic leader of your life, which is super, super important. To be a leader in your own life and be the one who's trailblazing, because since we're doing things in an energetic way, in a mindset focused way, a mindset forward way, most people don't do that. That's not the norm. That's not common. So we have to be willing to do that when it doesn't make sense to other people. Okay.